Okay. And then we'll just wait. We are 1 minute away from go live, please. There we go. Never a dull moment. We shall see. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, there we go. There I am. Hello there, Ryan. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's not it. At 12:06, good afternoon. You're listening to the John depetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I want to welcome everybody that is tuning in. This is the Noon Report. For better or worse, folks, good afternoon. We have the red microphone going, which means it's always ready for a good show. Good afternoon. There's Kathy. Let me just give some shout outs. We haven't done this in a while. Abby. Hi there, Donna. Hola. There's Anthony Santos. Yes. Folks, here we are. It is the Noon Report. Thumbs up. There's our friend Ryan. We're going to start off with him. There's Tommy Bryant, folks. I'm telling you, we have a very good offer. He is not leaving the program till we get him some clients, for crying out loud. I'm going to start with that. No, actually, we start with PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Then I'm going to do Tom Bryant. Because we need him to stay. He is a valued sponsor, and for whatever reason, Juan is not delivering people to him. And we need him. He's our guy. He is our financial guy and expert. But folks, right now at 12:07, and this is the Noon Report. Good afternoon, one and all. You can watch. We have the live simulcast on Facebook Live. Just find the page. It's exploding. Folks, we've now leaped up to 48,000 followers on the Facebook page. And it's not your imagination. We were at 35,000 in November. And we are, within the next month, we're going to be over 50,000. So I had the nicest conversation with the people at Meta the other day who said, Juan, whatever you're doing, just keep doing, because it's really remarkable. Folks, this portion of the program, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. They have tropical hibiscus, mandevillas, all of your spring plants. They're open 7 days a week. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Beautiful selection that they have right now. Whether it is, in fact, pansies, pansy bags, hangers and bowls, assorted colors. Now, they also have beautiful hydrangeas. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Blue and pink are available. They're open 7 days a week. Hey, they grind it. They work it. Quality, local, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown, and you can find them on Facebook. Now, the website continues to take off, but folks, right now at 12:08, I want to use this occasion. Now, wherever you're listening, whether you're watching on Facebook or listening, listen, we have, I got to come up with a name with it, but no, we have a tremendous, from heaven, God-given, fantastic sponsor. But for whatever reason, the responsibility falls on Juan, right? I know it seems impossible to believe, but different categories. Some categories work well, some don't. We have got to get him some clients. We have to. And it's our friend Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. And these are my words, by the way. These are my words. I'm talking free consultation. So if you're listening right now or watching, 401-434-1510. Ameriprise Financial, our guy Tom Bryan. Office is located 400 Massasoit Avenue in East Providence. For over 125 years, Ameriprise Financial has provided advice to clients' unique goals. Millions of Americans retire on their terms. And remember, maybe it's you have questions about retirement. Maybe, perhaps, it's questions about crypto or gold. Take advantage. Free consultation. Tom Bryan, Ameriprise, and when we've talked to him, a lot of people have questions about long-term care coverage. Maybe it's one of your parents or yourself. They go in somewhere, they need extra care, and they don't have the proper coverage. It all starts with the phone call. Did I mention a free consultation? 401-434-1510. Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. And he can help with many different things. Maybe it is questions about retirement. Maybe it's questions about a major purchase planning. Why not deal with an expert? I have a friend of mine who was talking about someone's trying to encourage him to get into gold. He wasn't sure. He's recently made pretty good amount of money. And my advice to him was very simple. I said, call before you do that. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's wrong. What I'm saying is maybe a phone call to Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial, 401-434-1510. Free consultation. You, your family, your friends, whoever. Let's get some people in front of him. He's one of the good guys. All right, folks, 11 minutes past 12 on this Tuesday. You're listening to the John depetro Show. Again, it's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Yes, people are buzzing about what we have on the website. Guilty as charged. Yes, I get it. We have Cranston PD Live. Next episode comes up Friday night. We also still have the story in Warwick where they were looking for the armed fugitives. You can see that. People are still talking about the Dr. Motter interview. I love the people that are still contacting me, letting me know that it really wasn't coyotes in Warwick. Oh, really? It wasn't? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, no kidding. Right? No blank Sherlock. Yeah, we're aware of that. But it's all on the website, depetro.com, which is brought to you by the Coesit Inn. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. So President Biden has announced he's in. And this is obviously a golden opportunity. I will say this on this Tuesday. Now listen. This is a golden opportunity for the Republicans to retake the White House. Anyone that wants 4 more years of Biden-Harris seriously needs their head examined. If the Republicans are unsuccessful for the White House, I don't want to hear any of these complaints about voting. I don't want to hear that. Anyone that, most of the time, people that say that, all due respect, but they have no idea what they're talking about. Because Rhode Island is not the rest of the country. Okay? New Hampshire, for crying out loud. New Hampshire has a Republican governor, Chris Sununu. Georgia, the Republican governor also has a Republican Secretary of State. So all this business of, they're going to stay, I can't even listen to it. There are some things wrong with voting. And Biden talks about that as he wants 4 more years. And they lie about it, right? I mean, his announcement that he's going to seek re-election next year, it's filled with lies. One Republican, Rick Scott, wanted to make revisions to Social Security. And suddenly it's like they want to cut Social Security. And that's not even what it is. Look in France that they upped Social Security from 62 to like 64, 65. I don't even think that's the worst idea, by the way. There's a lot of things wrong with it. But it's nothing cutting. The Biden re-election, if whoever the Republican nominee is, just can't lose to Biden-Harris. So people are already asking me, I get that. So who are you supporting? I'm going to repeat what I have said. It's too early. It's too early. We've still got a long way to go here. But my enthusiasm is for the candidate who can win. Folks, as I have said in the past, this past election cycle, I voted for Ashley Kalis. I knew she was going to lose. I've done that. And now, look, we're stuck with McKee. It really should have been Helena, folks. I voted for Aaron Gukian. He did win day of voting. He should be our lieutenant governor. Helena Foulkes won day of voting. I voted for her in the primary. And Alan Fung should be in Congress. Do you hear any Republican at the Rhode Island State House making noise about all these mail ballots? It's insanity. They're silent about it. Senate Minority Leader Jessica De La Cruz. I get her emails. She's very good about that. Here's what we're working on. I'm waiting for them to go after the mail ballots. I like and respect Senate Minority Leader Jessica De La Cruz. I like House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale. I'm waiting for them very patiently to address this ballot situation. But it has to be, so there's my answer. I want whoever can win in 2024. That's who I'm with. You know, I was contacted by a friend that said they're going to the Trump rally in New Hampshire on Thursday. I'm not going to that. I think some parts of the support for him has been infiltrated by social misfits, to put it mildly. And I don't right now, and I posted on Facebook just as a reminder, you know, it's hard to believe, it was 7 years ago, 2016. I was on CNN with Don Lemon, who was fired. I'm going to touch on that. And not with Tucker, and I said, not only did I predict that Trump was going to win the Rhode Island primary, which he did, I predicted he would get the nomination and then he would win in November. It was way out ahead of the curve on that. It's different now. He has a different crowd around him. A lot has changed. The crowd that was with President Trump in 2016 is a very different crowd that is with him now. And the Wall Street Journal has a good piece for all the people that are just, it's Trump. I am just telling you, I'm not convinced of that. And I'll tell you why. The fact, and the Wall Street Journal calls him out, President Trump is calling Florida a dump and going after Governor DeSantis in this way. I can tell you, I have Republican friends in Florida that don't like that. I know many Republicans that don't like that. Mark Levin does not like that. President Trump is trashing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and calling Florida a dump. Now, outside of people that no matter what he says or does, President Trump was pretty accurate when he said he could shoot someone at Fifth Avenue and get away with it. But I want to just come back to, I mean, if you want to be objective, does that make sense to anyone listening that Florida, Governor DeSantis has turned it red? Businesses are flocking there, especially the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, flocking there. Right now, here it is, it's, the last week of April. Think of the different, maybe yourself or friends and family that spent the season down in Florida, or you visited people during the winter season, the snowbirds in Florida. Is there anyone that came away saying, boy, what a dump? It's the opposite. Florida, over 1,000 people a day are arriving there. And for a variety of different reasons. Calling Florida a dump, the real DeSantis record is one of misery and despair. Destruction all across Florida. Like, does anyone believe that? I can't believe this, that they're doing this. I can't. And just so you know, I've been vocal about that. I fundamentally disagree. You're attacking the state of Florida. The state of Florida, people are leaving California to move there. People are leaving all states to move there. Florida is, in California in the 70s, 80s, into the 90s, it was like people would pack up and move to California, move to the West Coast. It's like that with Florida now. And a big part of that, especially since the pandemic, was Governor DeSantis. The Trump people are out. They have a failing education system, failing medical environment. What? Wall Street Journal writes, ESPN wrote, it's the worst state in the nation to die. Is Mr. Trump in the habit of taking policy advice from ESPN? It's unaffordable and unsafe. Failing education system. People are moving there for the education system. Also have Some of the statistics come from groups with progressive agendas. Florida has right to work law. Unions hate that. Rhode Island doesn't have right to work. So the Trump people are quoting unions that don't like Florida's a right to work state. Absolute insanity. I just... Then they're quoting like Wallet Hub, as if anyone cares. Florida is the number 2 best state to retire, number 2 for starting a business, number 2 for fewest of coronavirus restrictions, number 2 for most fun state. Florida is number 4 for best for teachers, number 6 for low taxes, and Florida is listed number 7 for best state to live in overall. And they even write, Wall Street Journal, Trump's own behavior demonstrates Florida remains the number 1 state for retiring as a billionaire ex-president. How about Census Bureau? Florida gained a net 319,000 people from July 2021 to July 2022. Think of that. Top state by far in the competition for U-Hauls. People see opportunity in Florida. Competent conservative leadership is one reason. And Republicans control the state house in Florida. So since DeSantis became governor, Florida's expanded school choice. He's cut billions of dollars in taxes. They reopened early from COVID. Florida is a model of successful GOP governance, and Republicans should take heed. My point is, and I just want to finish this out, I'm not saying I'm in the DeSantis camp. But is there anyone right now at 1222? Let's compare states. Who would you say is doing a better job as governor? Governor McKee or Governor DeSantis? Which state is more business friendly? Which state has a better education system? Which state is a state people want to move to? President Trump lives... I don't understand any of that. So I'll just say this before I talk about Tucker and Don Lemon. I don't agree with that strategy because it doesn't make... To me, it doesn't make sense. Like, what are you kidding me? I mean, you don't have to like DeSantis, but let's not pretend that... And I get that he's concerned as a rival, but it becomes lunacy when you start describing... If Florida's a dump, what does that make Rhode Island and Massachusetts? Folks, this portion of the John depetro Show, and it's brought to you by J. Perry Paving. Hey, here's an idea. Why not improve your property? Get your driveway paved. J. Perry Paving. High quality, fair pricing, exceptional service. 20 years experience, specialized commercial paving, residential paving. J. Perry Paving. Call them today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Letter J. J. Perry Paving. Licensed and insured contracted company. They're going to meet your needs no matter how big, how small, whether it's a brand new paving project or just a cracked driveway. J. Perry Paving. Affordable, smooth, safe to drive on, aesthetically appealing. J. Perry Paving. 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730. Free quote. Serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. It's letter J. J. Perry Paving. And I also, just quickly, I want to mention, remember, if your appliance is dying, just call Ryan. Ryan's Appliance Repair. I received an email from Fred the other day. One, who is this appliance guy? There's something wrong, I think, with his washing machine. Call Ryan. Ryan's Appliance Repair. 401-710-7096. Repairs on all makes and models of appliances. Call Ryan's Appliance Repair. Is there something wrong with your washing machine, dryer, stove, refrigerator, oven, garbage disposal? When your appliance is dying, just call Ryan. 401-710-7096. Saturday appointments are available. All work is guaranteed for 9 days, parts and labor. It's Ryan's Appliance Repair. 401-710-7096. Now, folks, there's a lot floating out there about Tucker Carlson and Tucker being fired by Fox. And we're learning more that apparently the decision was made. I think Bill O'Reilly seems to have the most info that I've seen so far. The decision was made Friday night. When he signed off Friday, he had no idea. And then yesterday, the shows get together in the morning, and all of a sudden, they notified Tucker, and he found out 10 minutes ahead of time. So there's all kinds of conspiracy theories out there of what happened regarding Fox and Tucker Carlson. And there have been some pretty good things written. But a couple things that I know, I'm going to just kind of weave in and out a little bit. Because like many of you, listen, on this radio show, I would play sound from his show a lot. It's a great show. It's a powerful show. Tucker is very talented. And unlike some other hosts, he understood. He was doing some really different things and understood also he's a brand. Tucker is a brand. Where Bill O'Reilly left Fox, he's still around. He has a radio show. He does a radio update minute. But he was on with Chris Cuomo last night. I don't think Tucker's going to go to Newsmax. I don't think that's going to happen. I've heard people say that or One America. I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because they simply don't have the platforms. The last thing that Tucker, I believe now, that he wants, he doesn't want to come back and lose. He doesn't want to come back and lose to Fox. I fully get it. If you're Newsmax, you want to put Tucker on at 8 o'clock. I fully get that. But the problem is they just don't have the distribution of Fox. Newsmax, and I've been on Newsmax a bunch of times. I'm going to see the head of Newsmax coming up next month. I know several of the people there. I have good friends there. But they just don't have the distribution of Fox. They're not as easy to find as Fox. So I don't think, the last thing Tucker wants is, look at Chris Cuomo is trying with News Nation. But News Nation just doesn't have the same pull as CNN. So they're getting crushed on News Nation. But it wasn't Robert Kennedy Jr. tweeted, oh, look at this. He spoke out about Big Pharma, and all of a sudden he's fine. I don't think it's that. For those of you that watch Succession, and maybe not everyone does, and I have not been watching it consistently this season, but it's good television. I've watched it. Very popular show. But it's basically based on the Murdochs. Rupert Murdoch, who is a businessman, who started Fox News, who also, New York Post, Wall Street Journal. These people that are putting the Democrats that run it have no idea what they're talking about. Rupert Murdoch's been running Fox News Channel, for crying out loud. Rupert Murdoch is the person that brought Bill O'Reilly, that brought Sean Hannity, that brought Tucker Carlson. The brand of Fox News Channel is Rupert Murdoch. So that's wrong. The Bongino thing, what I heard, is just he overestimated his value with the network. But from what I hear, and especially I think Bill O'Reilly, his version of events, I heard they didn't even tell him why it was over. Just like, it's over. We're parting ways. You have to understand, Rupert Murdoch is 92 years old. He has built, he's Fox. He's a multi-billionaire. He's a very powerful individual. I think it's a matter of, no one's bigger than him. So it's not about the 2020 election. It's not about January 6th. But because of the 2020 election, Rupert Murdoch had to go in and he had to testify. And then they did settle for $800 million. He didn't like to have to go through that. And as O'Reilly points out, I give him credit, there's more lawsuits coming down the pike. So a couple things about Tucker. Now I have, and as I've said, folks, I've admired how Fox has stood by. They stood by Tucker. And initially they stood by O'Reilly, who ran into some bumps in the road. There's a couple things that have been put out that's not true. Tucker is the cash cow for Fox. That is simply not true. If you watch anyone that's watched Tucker for the past 2 years, you know, I mean, how many Mike Lindell commercials can you see? He's not. If anything, it was described to me they were actually even almost losing money in the show, but he just brings a lot of viewers. Tucker's authentic. You know, you can't agree 100% with everybody with what their views are. And so I found he, by and large, did a good show. And there were times that I was 100% on board with Tucker Carlson. Especially, you know, they knock him for this great replacement theory. But he actually voiced what I had actually been saying, but I never heard anyone crystallize it the way that Tucker Carlson has. And I have dealt with his people, and I've met him, and he's just what you would think. He's a very, you know, likable guy. He's very affable. Immediately made the Rhode Island connection. He went to boarding school at St. George's. We knew some mutual people. I met him in D.C. a couple of years ago. And then I would talk with his people on and off. They were curious about Cicilline. At least once, if not twice, I was supposed to be on the show to talk about Cicilline, and then the segment got bumped, which is fine. But he crystallized what I had been saying with Cicilline and basically the Democrats of Rhode Island did, which was Cicilline to me was the example. He gave up on trying to win over the regular Rhode Islander, the regular Rhode Island voter. David Cicilline, as congressman, he didn't want to hear it anymore. He didn't want to hear from people that were born in Rhode Island, I'll even call Caucasian, whether it be in Providence, Woonsocket. David Cicilline would hear from people in Providence, if you do this and that, you're going to force me to move out of the city. He didn't care because he was replacing them with new voters who would vote for whoever he told them to vote for. Illegals, people from the Dominican Republic, all these Guatemalans that come flying in. In 2012, Gordon Fox was the speaker. Cicilline was in Congress. And they did redistricting. And Cicilline wanted more of Providence. And he took a huge chunk of Providence away from Langevin. It used to be split. Because he had replaced... You had some upper middle class... No, not upper middle class, but middle class, lower middle class, white voters living in Providence. Cicilline wiped them out. Leave the city. Go move somewhere else. And replace them. It's a fact. With people who didn't care about their vote, who would vote for whoever you tell them to because they're just glad to be here. So I never heard anyone crystallize that the way Tucker did. So as much as they knock him and it's all false and the big replacement theory, I don't think he was wrong on that stuff. I actually think he was right on the money about it. But at the end, is Fox weakened by Tucker leaving? Of course it is. And right now, people, we're going to boycott them just like Bud, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't know. I think it was fractured anyway. And Tucker's numbers were not what O'Reilly's numbers were. You know, when I mentioned that, Bill O'Reilly used to average 4 million a night. It's a lot of people. Tucker was little under 3. But people are not watching television as much. People have more options. People watch Newsmax. People watch One America. People, not many, people watch News Nation. People like streaming. People are watching shows on YouTube, whatever it may be. So that it's dwindling a little bit. But what I'm telling you is I think in the end, based on what I've heard just over the past, that's what I heard. I heard they didn't even give him a reason. It was just like, we're ending the relationship. Which is brutal, you know. I mean, it was pretty high profile. As high profile as it gets. It was a national story. But I think at the end of the day, it is a business. You know, they didn't get rid of Bill O'Reilly for all the good he did. They got rid of him because he suddenly became bad for business. And with Tucker Carlson, when the top guy, Rupert Murdoch, has to go into court, and then you have the Ray Epstein that is coming up. Now, I don't know, one of his producers is going to do an interview today, and his lawyer. And, I don't know. Let's wait and see how that plays out. But there's definitely some allegations. And it doesn't mean it's him. It could be his staff. Some of the language that they allege they were using in the office, it seems pretty surprising in 2023 that people would be using some of that language without, I'm obviously not going to mention it, but seems a little surprising. I'll just use an initial, but starts with a C. I always cringe when I hear that word. It's funny, some of the British comics use it a lot. I think it must be more acceptable in Britain, but I always kind of cringe when I hear that word, and especially in the workplace. Anyone that, I don't know. Let's wait and see how it comes. But what I'm saying is, I think Rupert Murdoch, he didn't like the Dominion thing. And he certainly didn't like that apparently Tucker was saying various things about some of the Fox executives. But I think if they look down the pike, it's possible that he also just wanted to set an example. He did not like being dragged into court and didn't like, he can't fire Hannity. Hannity's been there since the very beginning. And he's not going to fire Laura Ingraham because, but I think it came down to, I do, that Rupert Murdoch was like, I know they think they're big and we give them a platform. Hey, Glenn Beck was huge on Fox. And then he left. He's never hit that height again. Obviously, O'Reilly was huge on Fox. There's a number of people like that. Tucker, I think, is different. I think Tucker could find a zone the way that Joe Rogan does, whether it's with Spotify. I think he's going to do something like that. I think he wants an interview program. I think the interviews he was doing on Fox Nation, the streaming service, is more in line with the type of stuff he wants to do. And so I think that he will actually be okay. I don't think you're going to see him traditional. Because if you're doing streaming, you do it on your terms. I don't think he wants the grind of a daily show. And he also, you don't want, it's hard if you're them. Think, every single day there are people rallying that want him off the air. And that wears you down after a while. It gets tiring. So I think Murdoch, I'm just going to leave it at this and then we want to stay on track. But if you've seen, this is not going to be a good analogy, folks. And again, you're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. This is not going to be a good analogy. But I'll just give two bad ones. There's an episode of Breaking Bad where when Gail Benecker is killed, and the guy that shows up who they identify, and then he's back at the lab they bring Jesse and Walt there, and there's Mike, and Gus comes in, and Gus changes into this outfit, and then right in front of Jesse and Walter, without saying anything, he very gruesomely cuts the guy's throat with a box cutter. So, and then he changes out and leaves, wiping off his glasses and everything. So that was how Gus Fring dealt with that situation, with the guy that allowed Jesse to go and kill Gail Benecker, and then the guy got ID'd, whatever his name was, Victor, I think. And that he wasn't going to kill Mike. He needed Walt and Jesse to cook for him, but he was pretty angry. So I think Rupert Murdoch, who, from what we're told, it came from the top. Now they're saying Suzanne Scott of Fox and or Murdoch's son. But I think this maybe even came from the top. Right? Now again, that's tough to argue with a billionaire that flies around, and it's like in Succession. It's like Murdoch, talk about sending shockwaves through the building. Let's get everybody in line. Let's get everybody in line. There's no one bigger than the brand. The Patriots let Tom Brady go. It hasn't worked out well. Brady won a Super Bowl with Tampa. But what was the message from Kraft? If they're going to get rid of Brady, nobody else should feel safe. That's for sure. Folks, this portion of the John depetro Show now, and over the next few months, you may say, I think we need an exterminator. And what I'm encouraging you to do is call Falcon Pest Service today, 401-739-1322. 401-739-1322. Falcon Pest Services, locally owned and operated, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Hey, termites, bed bugs, ants, roaches. See an ant in your kitchen this morning? Mice. They can also help you with mosquitoes. Don't you want to enjoy the outdoors? Falcon Pest Services. And they have different programs. Maybe it's one-time treatment. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's quarterly for an office building, school, hotel, restaurant, commercial building, your home. Falcon Pest Services. Call them today, 401-739-1322. Call John and Kelly today. Falcon Pest Services. Free quote, 401-739-1322 for Falcon Pest Services. I want to come back to, I believe Tucker's going to, I think he's going to, Tucker Carlson, I think he's going to take it, he can certainly afford, sounds like he's going to get some kind of a payday here. He can select his next option, whatever it's going to be. I think Fox is going to take a hit initially, but people are being splintered anyway. But I think there's a number of high-level investors that would back Tucker. Now, again, he started, I think it was the Daily Caller, so he I think, will say, I think I want to just be in business for myself. And he doesn't want to go through this again. So I think that's the direction he's going to take. Now, Don Lemon is the opposite. Don Lemon, who was given so many breaks, Fox search for a replacement. Now, I know they're saying the woman who brought down Tucker. We don't know that. We don't know any of it. And I don't believe this stuff where, I mean, they're really piling on now. They're really piling on him. Lemon and Carlson hire same powerhouse lawyer. How about the fact that your lieutenant governor, Sabina Matos, is trying to raise money off of Tucker Carlson losing his job? If that is not pathetic, and I think I'm the only one, I could be wrong, that is even pointing that out. She is running for to replace David Cicilline in Congress, and Lieutenant Governor Sabina Matos right now, and I posted this on Facebook, but she is, in fact, put it out to try to, wow, here's from her, Sabina Matos now. God bless me, after over 3 years of spewing anti-democratic, conspiracy-laden lies on national television, Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News this morning. This is someone who irresponsibly speculated on the dignity of our democracy and used his platform to deny the election results and influence others to do the same. The bad news, there's still more like him out there. They're in Congress, in our podcasts, and on our TVs denying the legitimate results of the 2020 election. It's extremely important to uphold the sanctity of our democracy. So if you're with me, add your name to hold election deniers accountable. Every signature would be another nail in the coffin for extremists aiming to disenfranchise our elections. Thank you for your help, Lieutenant Governor of Rhode Island, Sabina Matos. Folks, I want to remind you the nerve she has in putting that out. That this is someone, and I want to remind people, democracy, she lost. Let's talk about democracy. She lost day of voting. Aaron Gukian beat her back in November, day of voting. The only reason Sabina Matos is lieutenant governor is because of all of ballot harvesting. And the Rhode Island Republicans at the State House refuse to take on and challenge the Democrat Party when it comes to all this ballot harvesting. State Senator Jessica De La Cruz, House Minority Leader Mike Chippendale, I have no idea why they will not take on ballot harvesting. Someone asked me, do I think they cut a deal? I don't know if they cut a deal. But State Senator Jessica De La Cruz, her entire existence on Smith Hill should be to try to get Rhode Island in line with Connecticut and Massachusetts when it comes to Rhode Island is unlimited with ballot harvesting. So that's number one. Now, number two, Governor McKee, he lost day of voting in the primary to Helena Foulkes. He lost the day back in September when everyone went and voted primary day. So Helena Foulkes beat McKee. That's who people wanted. That is what has thrown off the state, is we're stuck with a governor that no one really wanted. And then he ran up the score with mail ballots during the general election. But she has the nerve to talk about democracy. Is that democracy to you? A bunch of union people go to assisted living centers, nursing homes, right? They don't let in the Republican candidates. They have union nurses. They grab all these mail ballots and stuff all the ballot boxes, the drop boxes, and then she loses day of voting to Republican Aaron Gukian, but now she's the governor. Does that sound like democracy to you? I want to remind you, Rhode Island will be a different place. The voters wanted Helena Foulkes to be the governor. The voters wanted Republican Aaron Gukian to be lieutenant governor. Checks and balances. The voters wanted Alan Fung to represent them in Congress. It is through ballot harvesting and stuffing of drop boxes that I have covered extensively and covered more than anyone else is the only reason these three people are in office. And she has the nerve to talk about democracy. She has the nerve to talk about our elections. This is someone who voted to defund the police in Providence this summer of 2020. There is no one who has accomplished less than Sabina Matos. And she's considered the front runner for CD1 and now raising money off of Tucker Carlson. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, and it's brought to you by AtMed Urgent Care. Now remember, when you have a situation where you need urgent care, AtMed Urgent Care, 2 locations, 1524 Atwood Avenue in Johnston, 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich, AtMed Urgent Care. That's where you want to go. Now, if you want to wait in an emergency room, do it. But at AtMed Urgent Care, they're located right in the Atwood Medical Center and also right across from Felicia's on Post Road. It's so much faster than an emergency room. Incredibly faster than an emergency room. They're open 7 days a week. They have doctors and nurses. I've gone there. Now, I received an email from someone that said she took her father to an emergency room. Do you know, it took the father to the emergency room 6 to 7 hour wait. She was like, that's it. They went to AtMed Urgent Care, half an hour, saw her father. He was back home after they determined what was wrong and then put him on the right path within an hour and a half. AtMed Urgent Care. They cost-efficient healthcare alternative to hospital-based emergencies. They're open 7 days a week. Atwood Avenue in Johnston, the Atwood Medical Center. It's AtMed Urgent Care and 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich. AtMed Urgent Care. Well, folks, 12:49. Good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. As far as Don Lemon, there is that sound where that guy, he shouldn't have even been where he was. Totally milked it. Always playing victim. He's going to have a different path. I'm curious to see. He may never surface again, Don Lemon. Now, he may end up getting a big payout. He also, I mean, he can't even keep it straight where I am stunned. And Don Lemon, how about him saying about CNN, no one had the decency to come and talk to me and, fire me in person and blah, blah, blah. And CNN even pushed back on that they offered. He wouldn't even meet with them. But I think, I'm looking at a picture right now. Governor McKee, the new part of the casino is open, right? Governor McKee celebrating. Oh, the new part of the casino. There's no economic development with that. This again, those that want to go gamble certainly can go gamble, but for Governor McKee, like that's his form of economic development, is the fact that the casino is expanding their operation with Bally's. How is that improving anything? And keep in mind, him and Biden, they are like joined at the hip. I think Biden, as I've said, President Biden seeking another 4-year term. And he is. I am surprised. I thought they would wait till the summertime and into the fall to, number one, see how his physical, mental condition is. And then, make some decisions that. And on top of that, I think it's incredible the amount of polls of people that don't want, even Democrats that don't want President Biden running for another 4-year term. But he's in, and this business of finish the job. By the way, the Republicans have a hilarious AI video out of what 4 years of more of Biden would look like. The Republicans have a decision to make. But closer to home, the Rhode Island Republican Party, they're now going after Speaker Scacchi, and they're going after him, questioning some kind of a land deal. And so, all right, I understand that they're being proactive, and I understand that they're looking for like a lane of attack. So, but I still just question, what's the real priority up there? To me, as I've said, the real priority should be with voting, and not so much on some of this, what I would call just inside baseball, that I think I think the whole key to some Republicans getting elected and winning statewide again, if you didn't have ballot harvesting, if Rhode Island was more in line with Connecticut, Massachusetts, Helena Folks would have won the primary, right? But McKee won the primary because of that. If our ballot harvesting laws were more in line with Connecticut and Massachusetts, Alan Fung would be in Congress right now. But because of it's unlimited, where Mass and Connecticut, you can't collect more than 10, Seth Magaziner is in Congress. If our laws were more just in line with Mass and Connecticut that limited 10, Rhode Island's unlimited, Aaron Gukian would be lieutenant governor right now. So to me, you're looking at, that would have been 2 big Republican wins, right? Can you imagine what the Republican Party would be like if there was a Republican lieutenant governor? The losing streak would be over. The last time a Republican won statewide was Governor Kacheri in 2006. But this past November, Aaron Gukian, he broke through. And that would have been a game changer, right? He won and beat her day of voting. And the same thing, Rhode Island would be a different place if Alan Fung were in D.C. instead of Seth Magaziner. He'd be in with Kevin McCarthy. It would be a different Republican Party. So to me, all efforts should be made on voting. The only thing, and Governor McKee, he shouldn't be the governor right now, as I've said. The people want it. The people wanted Helena Folks. She should, in fact, be the governor. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro show on this Tuesday, if you're looking to achieve rapid, aggressive weight loss that will last a lifetime, well, Unique Health has a free seminar, and they will work you through targeting stubborn fat. Unique Health, the detox program, the benefits of clean eating, habit building, extreme weight loss. You could lose 20 pounds in 10 days. Unique Health. Now call Sandra today, 401-269-9155. It's a free seminar. There's no obligation. You can look for them on Facebook and Instagram. It'll increase. Think of this. I want you to picture your life now. But now picture what your life would be like 40 pounds lighter, 30 pounds lighter, 50 pounds lighter. Unique Health. You're going to look better. You're going to feel better. Your health will improve. You're going to be more motivated to go out and exercise because you're going to start to see some rapid improvement. Maybe you have a wedding coming up this spring, something special. Or First Communion, whatever it is. Job interview, Unique Health. It's a free seminar. Call Sandra, 401-269-9155, 401-269-9155. Free seminar, Unique Health. Look for them on Facebook and Instagram. Well, folks, right now, 12:56 on this Tuesday. It is April 25th. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Fox search for replacement. Well, Brian Kilmeade he filled in last night, and I believe he's filling in all week. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the mix. So I'm looking at why was he forced out 14 years. He had been on Fox and Friends Weekend. Who can replace that? And then he was 7 o'clock. And then O'Reilly left. He got that. If Megyn Kelly had stayed, she may have gotten the 8 o'clock slot. So I just want to skim this, who they believe might be in the running. Now, most of the time you don't want to move things around too much. So now someone who's doing really well is Jesse Waters. So the question is, do you keep him at 7 where he's doing well, or do you put him at 8 o'clock? I don't know. Let's see. Who are the show? The 5 does really, really well. I'm going to go back to what I've said is, the 5 is the number 1 rated show on Fox. And Gutfeld does really well. So I wonder if they, we don't know. If, in fact, they tinker with the format a little bit. But not as many people are watching television at night as they used to. And, folks, many of you know they're going to, the networks are going to end, primetime programming is going to end at 10 o'clock. People are doing different things at night. People are on social media at night. People are watching streaming services at night. So, I don't know. Something would tell me that they maybe want to keep the lineup as is. Maybe they put Brian Kilmeade there. Maybe they put Jesse Waters, 8 to 9. And then Brian Kilmeade is the permanent host from 7 to 8. But I think you want to keep Hannity and Laura right there. So, now, folks, again, you're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. It's 12:59 on this Tuesday. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. The big news of the day, President Biden has announced that he is seeking another 4-year term. I think that is a real opportunity, tremendous opportunity for the Republican Party. So we're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. I will be doing Facebook Live later. Tomorrow night, we're doing First One on the Scene live stream with Mark. Friday night will be Cranston PD Live. But what we're going to do is we're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. We have another full hour to go. You're also going to hear my conversation with Representative John Breen. It's all next on the John DePetro Show.